Huh, this protein, amino acid, enzyme, and catalyst one looks good. I think I'll go with that one. Enough of that. Come on, where could I just find a good video for proteins, amino acids, enzymes, and catalysts? I mean, honestly, is there like some science channel on? Let's see what we got here. Are you looking for a place to learn about proteins and enzymes?
Yeah.
Are you also looking for a place to learn about catalysts and amino acids?
Yeah, I'm looking for those too.
Are you just looking for a reliable source to learn about basic chemical compounds?
Yeah, I really need a good source to research this stuff.
Are you finding it uncomfortably ironic how I'm answering the very questions you have as if we're having a legitimate conversation?
Yeah!
Well, whatever you're here for, I'm going to explain these 4 topics, and not just a definition that you can find anywhere, but what they actually are and what they mean. First, let's start with proteins. Now, of the 4 major groups of organic compounds, proteins are one of the most important. Now, when you think of proteins, you might not have a mental image of what they are, but you know, for a pretty basic idea that you find them in meats when you think of the food groups, you know, and you know that's a good starter for what they are. Basically, in a human being, it's pretty much everything you can see. It makes up what your skin is, fingernails, even your hair. It's a very broad part of what your body's made of. And, well, then you might think, well, what are proteins made of? Well, they're actually made of what you call, or may have heard of, amino acids. Alright, so you have amino acids here. Now, when you think of acids, you might think of vinegar or battery acid, but really it's not exactly what it is. It's very different, actually. Now, when you think of the molecular structure, what you're going to have is this huge compound right here. Let me finish this up. Okay, so basically what they're made of is hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. And this is a very basic molecule of what an amino acid is. Now, so you're going to have all these components, and these are the necessary components, these 3. And you're always going to have a central carbon molecule right here, or atom right here. But this R right here, this is a spot where you can chain on more amino acids. Alright, so what amino acids do is when they have that empty R space right there, they like to chain with other amino acids and keep chaining on with more and more amino acids to eventually where they'll have a bunch of chains here, and when there's so many, they'll be able to twist and fold and mold into other chains and bigger chains, and then they'll be able to make bigger shapes and different kinds of forms to where they'll be able to perform different functions in the body. And those bigger forms of amino acids are what proteins are. Those are proteins. Alright, so the last 2 words we have here are enzymes and catalysts. Well, the interesting thing about these are that simply enzymes are catalysts. Now, what enzymes are a kind of protein that is in fact a catalyst, and what its job is to break apart compounds in the body that whenever you eat something or digest something, that's enzymes are what break it up into smaller compounds like catalysts. So in dealing with enzymes, you have three parts. You have the actual enzyme right here. This top part of the enzyme is what you call the active site, and this is the substrate. This is the particle that will be decomposed by the enzyme. So what will happen is this substrate will attract to the enzyme, which will then break it apart, and that's how it decomposes. And I'll show you exactly how that happens in this animation.
Alright, so right now we're inside the human body. Okay, now we're right here, we have an enzyme floating around, just doing its thing and waiting for something to happen. Waiting for along to come a substrate to float around and attract to this active site in the enzyme, and bang, before you know it, you have two substrates that the enzyme breaks down in the active site.
Well, folks, I hope that helped you learn something today about the four topics.
Hey, who took the remote?
I did. Why would you watch the Science Channel? Why wouldn't you just ask me?
I don't know. Because I am you.
Oh. Yeah. I guess you do have a good point there.